graph of a differentiable function f is shown above. If h of x equals the integral of f of t from 0 to x, which of the following is true? So if we look at the answer choices, it seems they want us to order h of x, h prime of x, h prime of 6, and h double prime of 6 based on how large and small they are. So we need to order these from smallest to greatest. So let's find the value of each of these. So h of 6. So h of 6 is just equal to this function h of x, but with 6 plugged into x. So when we do that, we get 0 to 6 of the integral of f of t dt. And f is graphed here. And if we look at the graph from an x value of 0 to an x value of 6, the graph here is below the x-axis. And since we are taking the integral of f of t, the graph of f, from 0 to 6, that means this is going to be some large negative number. So this here is going to be less than 0, since this is going to be negative area. If this was area above the x-axis, this would be positive area. Okay, so here, let me get rid of that. So h of 6 is less than 0. What about h prime of 6? H prime of 6 is the derivative of h of x. And so let's find the derivative of h of x. H prime of x is the derivative of this integral. And we know when we're taking the integral derivative of an integral, we just leave the integrand as is and plug in the top boundary. So h prime of x, this is one of the fundamental theorems of calculus. So when we plug in x into f of t, we're just left with f of x. So that means h prime of x is just equal to f of x. And we have the graph of f here. And we see that, so all we need to do to find h prime of x is just find f of 6, because that's equal to h prime of 6. And f of 6 at an x value of 6 is just equal to 0. So that means h prime of 6 is 0. Okay. And then h double prime of 6 is the second derivative of h of x, or the first derivative of f of x, the graph of f. Since we have the graph of f, we see that if we took the derivative at 6, it would be finding the slope of this tangent line at the point x equals 6. And we see that the graph here is increasing, meaning the slopes of any tangents in this region are positive. So that means that h prime double prime of 6 is greater than 0. So we know h of 6 is less than 0, h prime of 6 is equal to 0, and h double prime of 6 is greater than 0. So that means out of all these, h of 6 is the smallest, h prime of 6 is in the middle, and h double prime of 6 is the greatest, because h of 6 is less than 0, h prime of 6 equals 0, and h double prime of 6 is greater than 0. So that means the correct answer orders them in the order of their derivatives. So that means A is the correct answer.